I want to talk about becoming a YouTube star. Now, quick disclaimer, I don't consider myself a YouTube star, but I thought that sounded better than an opening where I say, I want to talk about becoming mildly successful on YouTube. So, I've had a few questions in the last month about making videos for YouTube, getting views, and making all of this work, and I thought I'd take a few moments and share how I got here and how you could get here too, and you should be able to apply this advice to any type of channel. I want to take you back, summer 2012. That's when I realized that the best way to get my content out to people was YouTube. Up to then, I'd been posting in forums, tweeting, blogging, but it wasn't until I started consistently uploading videos to YouTube that I started to grow an audience that connected with me. Now, if you're paying attention and good at math, you should be able to figure out that that's almost 5 years. 5 years, my success has been earned with some hard work. From 2012 to 2014, I did have a full-time day job. I'd come home from the job and usually work till 11, 12 at night on the channel. Most summer Saturdays were spent shooting weddings, and Sunday I was recording content for the channel for the week. For nearly 2 years, that was my schedule. If I wasn't shooting a wedding, I was creating content for the channel. If I wasn't creating content for the channel, I was shooting, learning, responding to comments, interacting. Now, much of this didn't feel like work because I love photography, I love teaching, and that's important. You need to love what you do because to have any type of success, you're going to be doing it non-stop for a significant period of time. I settled on about 3 videos a week and saw good growth, and as a result, I was able to leave my full-time job in May of 2014. That's almost 3 years ago, and while I'm far from an expert, I do have some advice to share. It is important to be as consistent as possible. While this can apply to anything in life, it's hugely important for YouTube. Find a schedule that works for you and publish on that schedule. If your own schedule makes it tough to be consistent, create a backlog of videos before you begin releasing them. And then as you release those on schedule, create the new content. It's also extremely important to be yourself. There's an audience out there waiting to connect with you. Trying to be someone you're not will be exhausting, and the people you are connecting with won't be, in the long term, the best audience for you. And here's an important fact. It is 100% okay if the real you is not perfect. You don't have to be a perfect speaker, editor, presenter. What you do need to be, and you should be, passionate about the content you are sharing. If you get your video online and realize it isn't perfect, don't beat yourself up over it. Learn from it and move on. But you will get those negative comments. They kind of fall into 2 categories. The constructive ones where I think they had, I'm going to put me back in here, my best interests in mind. They just weren't socially so able to share that well. And I think you should respond nicely to those, learn from them, and move on. And then there are the trollish ones, where they're just negative, designed to hurt, and you should ignore those as best you can and try hard not to think about them as you fall asleep each night. Some days it's easier than others. But just know that you've taken a huge step of creating helpful content and putting it out there for people to learn from. That is way more than any of these trolls ever did. And while we're talking about the dark side, I want to kind of smush in this other video ideas I've had for a while, talking a little bit about fear and worry. This was me almost exactly 1 year ago. I was packing up, moving out. A few months earlier, I'd gone through a bad breakup. And in my case, my partner had also been part of this channel, and I spent a lot of time worrying about my future, personally and professionally. Was I going to be lonely for the rest of my life? What would I do with the channel? Would it be able to continue as it had? And a couple things that I've learned. One, friends are wonderful. The people that called out of the blue, sent thoughtful little notes, it just shows how taking a few moments out of your day can really help someone else out. And during all of this, I had this realization, all of this worrying doesn't accomplish anything. And I am sure there are many cute little quotes out there to this effect, but it took this event for me to realize just how much time I had wasted in the past worrying about stuff that I couldn't even control. So focus on what you can do. And to tie this back into this, I know there are a lot of people out there that are pretty unhappy in their day jobs, but worrying about failing at new adventures, like trying to be mildly successful on YouTube, keeps them locked in. You might fail, but you should at least try. And I can tell you, it's loads more fun being positive, making content, and sharing it with the world than it is sitting around wishing you had tried. Back to a few more practical tips. Don't spend a lot of time figuring out a name and a logo. Focus on the content, but do make sure you tell people who you are and how else they can connect with you, at least a few times. You ever listen closely to a radio advertisement? Sometimes in a 15-second spot, they'll give you the URL or the phone number 5 times. They've clearly found that repetition is key. I don't think you need to be so drastic, but you do want to make sure it's easy for people to find and connect with you beyond this YouTube content. And a few more quick tips: if you want to create a channel like mine, you should make it a mix of content, gear reviews, that's usually how people find you, and helpful advice that gives those people a reason to stick around and watch your stuff. How to get that gear? Well, when I started, I bought or rented. It's easy to make multiple helpful videos and reviews about a single piece of gear. I think you should do that. Renting also helps, and I do know that both aren't cheap and cost something, but consider it an investment into your channel. And as you grow and get an audience, email every manufacturer you can think of asking for gear loans in exchange for reviews. You'll start small, but hopefully you'll grow. And finally, diversify. If you're just looking for some extra cash, the money from YouTube can seem decent, but when you want to live off of it, it is far from enough. So have a plan for other sources of income. And that's it. If I was to summarize this video, work hard and be nice. Do you have a better summary? Leave it in the comments below and I'm going to pin the best one. I'd also love to hear your thoughts and see your links to your new channels. And what do you think is the best tip for beginning YouTubers? Thanks for watching, and hit that thumbs up if you found this useful, and don't forget to subscribe. Goodbye.